So we'll go ahead and look at this last guy. May come out pretty excited, but give him a minute to calm down. This one actually is Hootie, and he's the gray horned owl. It's all right. It's all right. You can hear the noise. He kind of hooted at me when I got him today. It's probably been a little while since he's done a program, so he's probably a little worked up. Kind of a big baby. Come on.
Oh, beautiful.
So he's looking up. He's wanting to jump. I'm not going to let him jump. So he feels a lot heavier than the other one. So gray horned owls get up to about 3 pounds. So it's double that other weight.
Is he full grown?
So this one, he looks about full grown. The females might get a little bit bigger. So he might be a male or female. So I was thinking, I don't know. But I've held some that are a little bit bigger. So don't quote me actually on the gender just right now. So really strong grip. Earlier when I got him in the box, he had a grip on my glove, and it just kind of was like a vice, even kind of through with I was wearing the glove. So I just kind of let him take the time. So probably an eye injury. Look at that left pupil that's further away from me. That pupil does not get big. So remember, the pupil is the black part. The iris is the color. So how important vision is for owls just in general. And if you look just on the side, it looks like a huge marble. There's eyes. This incredible amount, and his eyes, probably bigger than mine. Vision is so important, but he should be symmetrical. That left eye, the eye that's further away from me, should look like that right eye. So some sort of collision type injury. So we don't want to put him back out to the wild where he's just going to starve to death and not get his food.
So someone came across him.
Right.
Yeah,
they call it. You can find our number on the Facebook page and also the web. So basically a volunteer will come out with gloves and a box and get that bird. So if you ever come across anything, you can find us pretty quick on the web. Don't risk your life. Just tell us where it is. We'll do that, because if the bird's on the side of the road, we don't want anyone getting hurt with that. But they can get hit by cars. You can see them in the middle of the road. Everyone's seen probably different birds and things dead on the interstate. Sometimes you're driving down the interstate, your lights shine out on the road, or just any type of road. Just in general, there's a mouse in the road. The owl comes down to grab that mouse, and you strike that owl with your car. Not on purpose, but we have a lot of roads. We have a lot of cows. We have a lot of cars out there. We do have a lot of cows. So he's doing a lot better than I thought. Yeah.
But he doesn't have that.
Yeah. So he makes a little different sound. So compared to the barred owl that says, "Who cooks for you?" He's out late, so he says, he doesn't really, but to help you memorize, he'll say, "Who's awake? Me too. Who's awake? Me too." So, woo, 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 woo. A little bit deeper, I get it. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. I don't think he'll do it, but yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that distinguished, that wise nature. It's just kind of like you rule the roost. You've got it's that majestic look of, as we think, just in general.
But the people sound like wicked.
Yeah.
You might be mad at me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does, because of the eye being different there. So just the beautiful nature. It almost looks like, it's kind of hard to describe his feathers just in general. It's almost just like a painting. How perfect all those feathers are just in general. So he's one of the top predators in the county in western Kentucky. You think about other things of mammals and things like that, but he's one of the top things. So what do you want to? You go to Walmart or whatever, you want to buy something to scare away birds from area, you can buy fake one of these. It's a gray horned owl. These guys are so big and tough, they can actually go to an eagle nest, and if mom and dad eagle aren't around, go up and take babies out of the nest. Go ahead.
I was out horseback riding through a field that had just been plowed and came across one of these guys and a red-tailed hawk, and they were having a face-off. Who was going to kill who?
I don't know. I think these guys should be stronger than that red-tailed hawk. So usually they're found in the same areas. The red-tails are out during the day. These are at night, but there will be some encounters.
And when I dismounted to try and
Yeah.
see what was going on, and it couldn't fly very well.
So were they on the ground or?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So maybe one had an injury, and birds will just try and drive off others. You ever look in the sky and you'll see a hawk being chased by little blackbirds, things like that. Say, well, why doesn't the hawk just do it? But it's almost like a fighter pilot versus a bomber. It's not going to be able to catch it. But, if one of the birds is injured, one would maybe drive it off and possibly kill it. So red-tailed hawks are usually outmatched by these in general, just overall in the strength. But, if that one was injured or not.
I mean, it flew. It could fly like 4 feet because it got over the other side of a woven wire fence where I couldn't get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was baby, but it was bigger than
Bigger than that. So maybe it was, out during the wrong time and got injured, and then the red tail is probably just going to drive it out of the territory. And there's some that are just found in certain areas, but they're different times of the day. During the winter, between kind of here in Henderson, there's some strip mine land that's really short grass, and we have the short-eared owl. Looks a little different than this, and they'll hang out with it's a hawk-type creature called a harrier, and they're found in a similar place. So it's interesting. They both have a similar niche, but it's out during the day and during the night. So I've heard different stories of these guys getting caught in the soccer goal or a barbed wire fence or something like that. And if you ever do come across that, make sure you call the proper authorities, because even though you're trying to help a wild animal, they'll see you as kind of a threat. And those huge feet and those talons, those toes are almost as big as my pinky, and grab, a lot stronger than any man in here, woman that we're dealing with. So you can definitely see the feathers all the way down to the toes.
So that coloring, when he's flying, he's camouflaged from, like if I'm a mouse and looking
Yeah.
up, I'm not going to see him as well because of the way he's shaded on the bottom.
Right. So kind of blending in with the night sky, and also just sitting up in a tree. All the trees we go by, guarantee these guys are in here in the bypass. I've seen some nests, not too far from the country club and on the country club here in town. So they're around, and they're eating your mice. They're eating smaller animals I mentioned before. They could eat barred owls and they could eat screech owls. So wasn't that cannibalism? No, they're different type of birds. It's like you eating pig or cow. It's a different mammal. So there's different species of birds just in general. He doesn't care. He wants a meal. So really great hunter in general. Really magnificent wings. See how wide and broad those wings actually are. They're one of the few predators of skunks. Most birds don't have an incredible sense of smell. They have really good eyesight. These guys can have good hearing, but not really good sense of smell. So I'd say, well, it doesn't matter, go eat that skunk. So we've done some research before, caught some great horned owls in the past, and they smell like skunk. So and what they do, and sometimes with skunks and other animals, if they're so good at what they're doing, they'll eat the best part. Kind of like just in general, when do you, of an animal, eat the whole thing? Everyone likes their certain cuts of steak or whatever. So if he had a skunk, and basically if his feedings go so well, the head will be gone, and he'll eat the brain. So probably a lot of nutrients and fats and lipids and carbs and all that stuff in the brain of a skunk, just in general.
He'd leave the rest for the turkey vulture.
Yeah, for something else. So as long as life is good. So may eat more of the animal if it's not as great hunter in a sense. Yeah.
Where do they nest at?
They'll nest. They can nest in cavities, but they can take over old nests like a red-tailed hawk, and they can make a platform nest as well. So the one I actually saw in the bypass was probably a red-tailed hawk nest one year, then the next year is a great horned owl. And I could just see her up on the nest, and you just see the head, and you see the little two horns sticking up on top. Of course, they're not horns, they're actually feathers, but really interesting just in general. And these are one of the birds, the first ones to get on the nest. So they're breeding probably before Christmas, and they could be on the nest as early as January. So you think about birds nesting in the spring. It takes a while to feed a whole family of owls, which they could have 3 to 5 young, and they've got to get them all fed and got to get them big for the next year. So the earlier you start in the winter, they can do that. So So in January, we could actually find a great horned owl nest, mom sitting on it, and there's snow on top of her, and she's just sitting there on the eggs. So for you moms, I know many of you are committed to being moms. Imagine doing that. You're sitting out on a tree branch in the snow on top of you and protecting the babies. I'm sure all of you would, but, animals are very good moms for the most part. I'll let her. Come on.
What's this one's name?
This one actually is Hootie. Yeah. So we just got to get a little bit out of our system and get a little worked up. So, just in general, I'm worried about its safety and also my safety. That's why I have the gloves. Could do some havoc with that beak, but usually the talons. So, I just want to always make sure that everybody's safe, and of course the bird's safe as well. It is breathing heavy. He or she's kind of worked up just a little bit in general. But, they kind of pant to kind of get rid of some heat. Birds do not sweat. So mammals sweat. We bring our body temperature here. What they can do, they can breathe heavier. They can move their feathers. And if everyone takes a look in the back, look at the Facebook page in here. So it's for a vulture. It's getting hot in here, so poop on all your toes. So basically on the song or whatever, vultures can actually just poop on their feet, and basically that'll help cool them off in a sense. So it was weird. Birds will use different things just in general. So kind of that evaporation after the poop lands on their feet, when sweat evaporates off you, the poop evaporates off those vultures, they can basically cool off a little bit. So birds need to have different mechanisms to kind of cool down. So different things we think of. Yeah, unless you're a vulture, don't try that at home. And vultures, very interesting. They can come along and eat any birds of prey if they die just in general. But, just owls, you just got that majestic, kind of fierce look to them overall. In many ways, they do kind of higher up in the food chains in a sense. Yeah. So he's doing pretty well for the most part. But the tricky part is on some of these to get him back in the box. So they go back in the box when they want to, even not always when I want them to. So we'll see how he does. Yes. So this one in Diva can actually be seen there at Yell Creek. Go ahead, Mary.
I'm sorry. I'm just back feathers helping it balance.
Yeah, so you can kind of see those tail feathers. Those are important for flight as much as the wings are. But yeah, he's kind of helping him balance. He keeps moving them back and forth. So those feathers are kind of like, each kind of feather is attached to kind of, of course, the skin like a little muscle just in general. So you think about it, everyone's gotten goosebumps before, and like those hair follicles will kind of be standing up, and here they can be moving the tail feathers as well. Okay?
One more question.
Yeah.
When they're in captivity like that, how often do you all as volunteers have to go out there and feed them?
It's a daily thing. We're going to make sure the cages are clean, they have enough food, and of course the water. Make sure they're all in good shape. And often we give them whole food. Like we'll give them a part of. We don't want to just kind of give them deer meat or chicken or ground beef. We want to give them like whole mice. So imagine what your diet. If we just give you chicken breast and that's all you eat, your diet would be horrible. So we want to give them the whole animal. So what they get, all the different things out of that mouse, they can get bone. They can get a lot of different tissues and muscle. And we didn't talk about in general. They'll make an owl pellet, kind of like a hairball, like a cat will do. But when an owl releases the owl pellet, it's the fur and the bones. They can't digest that. So we looking for good volunteers. You can find us on Facebook and the web and get some good information. And I'll see if he wants to go up. Just really huge wings. When you put those wings out, it just kind of almost triples the size of the bird.